Am I the asshole for moving out of mine and my now ex-boyfriend's apartment without reminding him that our lease is up on the 31st? My ex-boyfriend, 30M, and I, 29F, were together for almost 8 years and lived together for 5 of them. For most of our relationship, we were very intentionally child-free. We loved having disposable income, taking spontaneous trips, going out whenever we wanted, and generally building a life that revolved around us instead of diapers and daycare. It worked. Or at least, I thought it did. About a year ago, one of our closest couple friends got pregnant. That's when things started to shift. I noticed my ex getting quieter, more reflective, and honestly, less present with me. I brought it up directly and asked if the pregnancy had changed how he felt about being child-free. He assured me it hadn't, but something in my gut told me that wasn't the full truth. Their baby was born in July, and from that point on, the distance became harder to ignore. We were both involved in the typical village stuff, dropping off meals, visiting, helping out, but he started pulling away from me. Fewer texts during the day. Missed date nights. We had 2 scheduled every week, and suddenly one was always getting skipped. He was physically there, but emotionally checked out. I tried again to have a serious conversation. I told him very clearly that I was not going to change my mind about having children. I also told him that if he was changing his mind, he needed to tell me now, because this isn't something you compromise on, and I didn't want a slow, painful breakup later. That's when he admitted he had been thinking about adoption, someday down the line. We talked it through, but for me, that was the moment I knew the relationship was on borrowed time. Once my mind is made up, it doesn't really budge. He had several business trips lined up in October, so we agreed to use that time as a break to think, reflect, and decide whether we were still aligned or if it was time to end things. We ran a pretty expensive, very nice apartment together, and I stayed there while he traveled. I'm a pragmatic person, and in my head, the break already felt like the beginning of the end. A disagreement about children isn't something you work around. Even though I could technically afford the apartment on my own, I knew I wouldn't be able to maintain the lifestyle I'd been living, so I started casually looking at other places. I told him I was doing this. We were still talking weekly at that point, and we even joked about how convenient it was that this relationship crisis was happening right before our lease ended. We officially broke up in late November. At that point, I reminded him directly that our lease expires at the end of December and that he needed to decide whether he planned to stay in the apartment or move. I assumed he'd leave. His name is on the lease, but almost all the furniture and everything that made it feel like home was mine. He waffled, said he wasn't sure, said he'd decide closer to the end of the year. After that, we went mostly no contact, aside from coordinating when he could grab some clothes and a few essentials. He's been staying somewhere temporary, but he still has a lot of stuff in the apartment. Electronics, collectibles, comic books, action figures, memorabilia, and everything in his office. I haven't touched any of it because none of it belongs to me. Now it's December 29th. 2 weeks ago, I found a gorgeous, reasonably priced 2-bedroom apartment and signed the lease. My movers are scheduled for tomorrow. Today, while packing up the last of my things, I debated whether I should call him one more time to remind him that the lease ends on the 31st. My best friend, who is currently helping me pack and drinking all my wine, thinks I should call him as a courtesy. Her argument is that it would be the nice thing to do. But here's the thing, I've already reminded him, multiple times. We joked about the lease ending. I explicitly told him in November that he needed to make a decision. He's a 30-year-old man. I am not his mother, his assistant, or his property manager. I shouldn't have to chase him down to remind him to collect his belongings or deal with his lease obligations. So I didn't call. Tomorrow, I'm moving out. Whatever happens with the landlord, the lease, and the remaining items will be his problem to deal with. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for moving out without reminding him again and leaving him to handle the consequences of his own inaction?